On February 26th, 2019, I released a video titled Cities Skylines 2, in which I decided I was going to predict when Cities Skylines 2 might come out, what might be in Cities Skylines 2, and just what the future might hold for Cities Skylines at the time. I want to see if I was right, and I want to see how wrong I really was. In 2013, just over 10 years since the release of SimCity 4, EA and Maxis released SimCity, a modern take on what was the city builder of choice for many fans of the genre. Man, I don't know what's going on with my voice here, but it's weird. My accent's changed a lot in the last 4.5 years. But I also did this thing back in the day where I would do what I called editorial pieces, and this was like an editorial style video for me, where I'd written a script. Believe it or not, this entire thing, 17 minutes, 50-second video, was almost entirely scripted, and oh man, it's the voice, oh, it's it's something. And it was just okay. While the scope of the game was certainly smaller than what we'd seen a decade prior, and while it barely even worked at launch due to it requiring you to connect to EA servers that had crashed at the time. What are these inflections that I'm doing? And while it barely worked at the time, it's crazy, you know, the servers didn't work when the game launched. Due to the influx of players, I actually really enjoyed SimCity, and I enjoyed all that it had to offer at the time. That was, of course, until March of 2015, when Paradox Interactive and Colossal Order released Cities Skylines, and everything changed. As someone that grew up playing SimCity 3000 and SimCity 4, and who had gone so far as to buy... I don't know if you picked up on it, but did you hear me trying really hard to pronounce my T's in SimCity 3000 and SimCity 4? Whereas these days I'm a little bit late to SimCity. It's like, it's a D now. But yeah, I was trying really hard to not just have like the Northern Irish accent at the SimCity 3000 and SimCity 4. I was trying so hard to sound like a presenter. By the republished copies of games like Pharaoh and Hotel Tycoon from the bargain bin at the electronics store, just because I loved those kinds of games. It's also the only games that my gran would buy me for PC because everything new was really expensive. I did love those games, but make no mistake, it wasn't that I was going to the bargain bin and being like, I prefer these. Cities Skylines immediately struck both myself and the city builder community at large as the true successor to the legacy that SimCity 4 had left. I can't make a statement like that. What am I doing? Who am I? Who am I to make that statement 5 years ago? Who am I to make that statement now? Cities Skylines is the true successor. I mean, it is, but why do people subscribe to this channel? And that SimCity 2013 had tried, and I suppose failed, to continue. At the time of recording, it is February of 2019. It's almost 4 years since Cities Skylines released, and I've been thinking a lot recently about what the future holds for the game. Man, that graphics design, look at that. Look at that. That's a light blue background with white text. I mean, you can read it, but the font choice left a lot to be desired. And I'd very much like to discuss that at length, including ideas for future expansions and a potential sequel to the 2015 game. You know, I haven't watched this video since I edited it to release it 4.5 years ago, so I genuinely don't know what I suggested for future expansions, and I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm going to suggest here, and I've got no idea what I thought about for a sequel, so this might be really friggin' embarrassing, man. This might be a really bad idea. Cities Skylines Industries released in November 2018, and, at least to me, stands up there as the best expansion to the game to date, completely reigniting my interest in the game with the massive shakeup that it provided to the industrial micromanagement in the simulation. It built on a lot of what was done with the previous expansion, Park Life, going so far as to use the same district brush to assign dedicated industrial zones. Industries also happened to release 6 months after Park Life, which is almost exactly the average amount of time between expansions for the game since it released, and believe me, I've done the math.
Oh no, believe me, I've done the math is never... Oh no. Oh, that's such a... They're putting chemicals in the water that's doing something to the frogs. Like, that's the same type of state. Believe me, I've done the math. I've done the math.
After Dark released in 2015, September to be precise, followed by Snowfall in February 2016. Natural Disasters was November 2016, with Mass Transit in May of 2017. Green Cities came in October of 2017, with Park Life following that in May of 2018. And of course, Industries was November 2018. When you look at the time between releases and include the release month itself, you have 5 months, 9 months, 6 months, 5 months, 7 months, and 6 months. Add those together, divide by the number of values, and you have 6.333 recurring months of time, on average, between Cities Skylines DLCs.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. I mean, it's true. The average time between DLCs was 6 months. Everyone knew that at the time. Why was that a thing? And why was my city name back then ConflictNerd.store? That is still the URL for my merch store. No one buys anything from it, by the way, just in case you were curious. This must have been like a live stream city or something. But, oh man, why did I average out the amount of time? What was the point? What's the point I'm trying to make here? I'm sure I trust that I'm going to get to my point, but I've not made one so far, and we're 3.5 minutes into the video.
This exact value would give the next DLC, if there is one, a release in June of 2019.
You know what? I wasn't far off. 21st of May 2019 is when Campus came out. So just a couple of weeks shy of June 2019, we had Cities Skylines Campus. So you know what? I was right. That's one thing in this video so far that I was right on. So I'll take that. That's pretty cool.
However, I have a feeling it would more than likely be May
of 2000. Hold on a minute. Who is this man? Did I know about Campus back then? I might have. I don't know. I don't think I did. There were some DLCs that I knew about a couple of months before they come out. And with Cities Skylines 2, I knew about that back in 2021, long after this video came out. But this, I need to know what my reasoning is for getting this right. What's my logic here?
And 19. Now, I have no idea what the next expansion will be.
Hold on a minute. I'm not going to explain why I thought it was May. I'm just going to say, well, math says that it would be June, but I say it's going to be May. And it was. What? Okay, I've got one thing right. I predicted the next DLC exactly, and I'm pretty sure I didn't know about it. This was February, March, April. I might have known about it. I wouldn't break an NDA like that. I don't think I knew about Campus at this point.
Just as I had no idea that Industries was on the way. I like to think I have a great relationship with Paradox, but I'm not privy to that kind of behind closed doors information.
That's not always true. Like I said, I knew about Cities Skylines 2 for a while. I knew about it for a couple of years.
What would I like to see in the next DLC? I honestly couldn't even answer that. I think the game's gotten to a point where the expansions have, well, expanded so well on what's available in the base game that there's not a whole lot left to expand upon without bordering on the unnecessary or the obscure, especially given how well the modding community keeps this game moving forward already. Something that I'm super glad to see a light shone on by the official Cities Skylines YouTube channel in this past couple of weeks. So if we continue to look at the average number of months, we would find ourselves looking at a second expansion releasing in December of 2019.
Now that I'm pretty sure was incorrect.
there wasn't one in December 2019. There was only one expansion that came out in December, or in 2019. It was Campus. The next one was Sunset Harbor in March of 2020, and everyone thought that was going to be the last one. Now, admittedly, it was for a while. Airports didn't release, at least according to Wikipedia, until January 2022, so it was a while between Sunset Harbor and Airports.
But before even getting there, we would have to look at an important event in October of this year, PDXCon, the Paradox Interactive Convention, which for the first time is in Berlin and held across 2 days, leaving plenty of room for announcements. And yes, we are ever so slightly bordering on conspiracy theories here.
How are we bordering in conspiracy theories? Of course they're going to announce things at PDXCon 2019. I mean, they didn't announce Cities Skylines 2, as we now know, but how is this even remotely conspiracy? No one's conspiring here.
Do I think we'll have Cities Skylines 2 before or on the 5-year anniversary of the release of the first game? Honestly, no, I don't think we will.
That's two things technically that I got right. That's two things. We didn't get it on the 5th year anniversary of the game, so that's two.
Do I think we'll see gameplay before the end of 2019? No, I think that's
three. That's technically three. We also didn't see gameplay before the end of 2019.
Incredibly unlikely. Do I think we'll see Cities Skylines 2 announced at PDXCon 2019? Well, I think there's a solid chance.
Yeah, that aged well. that went really well. This video, by the way, I remember there was someone at Paradox I was speaking to at the time, and they were going through this thing where they were tweeting out YouTubers like videos and stuff occasionally, and a bunch of us would occasionally send our new releases to this rep at Paradox, and they would consider tweeting them out. And I remember I sent this video over, and the caption that I put on it in the message was just, "I'm so sorry." And they went in a couple of hours later, a few other people had posted videos, and it was basically like, "Appreciate the submissions. We'll get these posted up over the course of the next few days. And then at ConflictNerd, accept yours, you know why." It was basically, we're not going to tweet out a video on the official Cities platform that's, you know, it's coming up with theories about what the sequel might be. So yeah, I completely understood, but that's still hilarious to me thinking back on it.
It would make for a fantastic bookend to the first game, if a little quickly after the hypothetical final expansion being only 4 months after the theorized release date. Do I think we'll see Cities Skylines 2 launch in 2020? Well, if it's announced at PDXCon 2019, I would expect it to launch probably middle of next year. So yes, I suppose if it's announced this year, it'll launch in 2020. Now, theories, speculation, and thought-provoking is all well and good, and is something that I quite like diving into from time to time.
Yeah, apparently I like to theorize that the game is going to release 3 years before it actually does.
With that said, I can't stress enough that everything said thus far is just that. It's a series of thoughts and theories that I have been sitting on for a while, and that I've thrown back and forth around some friends to see what they think. Some think that I'm clutching at straws.
And oh boy, were they right.
Others see where I'm coming from, and some just want me to shut up and focus on the current game of Apex Legends.
I don't know if that was, I think that was true. This was like peak Apex time, right? I was really enjoying Apex Legends back in the day, I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm pretty sure a lot of my time playing it was spent theorizing about Cities Skylines 2, because I was working on this video for a couple of days, so that might be true.
So I suppose, moving on from these theories, let's talk about what I'd like to see in a sequel to Cities Skylines. What features would make it a worthwhile purchase and a worthy successor to an already feature-rich game? First and foremost, I think we can all agree that the traffic AI in Cities Skylines could use some work.
While it's absolutely fine for a lot of players, the traffic AI really starts to falter with more sophisticated builds and road layouts, causing tailbacks, societal collapse, and, honestly, the eventual fall and demise of civilization as we know it.
That was so funny. That was such a funny little ramble about how it's going to be the heat death of the universe. Man, this... Oh, this is really pretentious. It's so pretentious, man.
The limitation of traffic AI is caused by a number of things, although, to my knowledge, it's primarily a combination of the Unity game engine and a desire to keep the minimum specs of the game low enough as to make it accessible to a wider range of players.
I don't know if that's true. And I don't know that I knew that was true back then either. I do think part of it was system specs, but I don't know anything about game engines, and I certainly didn't know anything about Unity back then, so I have no idea where that came from.
Of course, this means that the minimum specs for Cities Skylines would have likely been locked down in 2014 during the development that led to the release of the game the following March in 2015. Now, I'd happily guarantee that the average specs of a PC in 2019 is going to be significantly higher than those 5 years ago, so in theory a sequel should easily achieve a much more realistic traffic simulation.
So that's kind of true, actually. The sequel does feature a more robust, more in-depth, more sophisticated traffic AI system. Traffic flows better. They make different choices. We've discussed pathfinding and things like that already. So I guess I'm right, but that's low-hanging fruit. Even back 4.5 years ago, traffic AI in City Skylines was something that people were kind of keenly aware of as being a little rough around the edges.
I know I would personally be excited about improved merging on highways and avenues, hopefully moving far, far away from the current system where vehicles, in some cases, will come to a complete stop on a highway in order to merge lanes, rather than trying to merge with the flow of traffic.
So again, that was correct. That is, in fact, now what traffic will do in City Skylines 2 is they will merge more fluidly than they did before. So again, low-hanging fruit, but nonetheless, that's what they do. So that's another thing that I got right.
A way to perhaps establish ring roads that the traffic would prefer over inner city roads would go a long way to help with this too.
That's not necessarily a feature of City Skylines 2, but that is probably a side effect of how pathfinding works in City Skylines 2, because again, as we've discussed in the feature highlight videos, pathfinding is based on a number of decisions, and that includes how many junctions and how, what the distance is and what the cost is. So in theory, if you have a high-speed ring road with fewer intersections, then yes, you could theoretically create a ring road that people prefer to use to get to the other side of town, as opposed to going straight through the middle of your city.
I can imagine this feature working much in the same way that the current priority road system does, where you simply toggle the ring road on or off, with the on setting causing it to become the preferred way for traffic to get to a location or an area, even if an inner city road was a shorter direct distance.
So not quite. That's not quite what City Skylines 2 does, but the theory's there. The idea is there. It's just that I make no mention of pathfinding, I'm assuming. So I'm 50-50 on this one.
I suppose it would sort of be a little bit of the old time policy in there as well. Now, thinking a little bit more outside of the box, I'd actually love to see a Cities Skylines sequel tackle multiplayer.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh no.
And just as a further dig at what SimCity 2013 attempted to do. On a more serious note, this is actually an idea I've put some serious thought into.
That sounds dangerous. I've apparently put serious thought into Cities Skylines multiplayer. Oh boy.
And I think with the right setup, it could absolutely work.
I mean, look, could Cities Skylines multiplayer be fun? Yes, but I don't, oh man, there's a lot of games that are bad, but they're fun with friends. I'm not saying Cities Skylines multiplayer would be bad, but just fun with friends. But I'm glad I was wrong on this one.
As we all know, Cities Skylines has a fairly robust district zoning system through which you can essentially grant buffs to a specific area or designate a location as farming, forestry, leisure, tourism, or even a park. It's all done with the same style of brush and with the same types of buttons. So why not extend that existing system to a multiplayer game, with the host player being the one that has the full control over all of it? Imagine this. You start a new multiplayer game of Cities Skylines on a beautiful new map.
I'm imagining. It sounds great, except for the multiplayer part.
You invite your friends and you all throw around ideas for what could go where, why it should go there, and how it would be laid out. One of you will build a beautiful beachfront. One will work on an airport and industrial zone. Another will work on suburbs, and you will work on the city center itself. Everyone has an idea of what they want to do, and as the host, you then go in and lay out districts.
First off, it would be nice to have that many friends with which to build a city like that. And second off, I actually vividly remember having this idea, and I still stand by it. I think it would be a cool way to use the district system. Essentially, you assign, I'm pretty sure this is what I'm going to talk about. I could just let the video play, but I've interrupted it now. I'm pretty sure the idea that I'm getting at here is you assign a district to a player and they can build within the district, so you can't like grief each other. But I mean, obviously, I'm spending a lot of time talking about multiplayer for the sequel, and we now know that it's not multiplayer.
Each with additional host controls that allow you to tell the game that a given player isn't allowed to build outside of the designated district. Not only would this be a means to prevent any messing with other players, it'd be a way to make sure things get done efficiently and that everyone's focusing on their own work. Essentially, the district policy system could be cloned and transformed into a sort of permissions system for multiplayer games of Cities Skylines.
Yeah, because it's that easy. You just copy and paste the districts. Jesus, Colossal Order. Why is there no multi? It's that easy, guys. It's that easy. Literally, Cities Skylines 2 has been ruined because you didn't copy and paste the districts thing and turn it into a permission system a la Minecraft. Hello? Minecraft servers had permission systems in 2011, guys. Minecraft, all right? Cities Skylines 2 has been ruined because they didn't just copy the system and apply a multiplayer framework with permissions, etc. Oh my God. It's that easy, though. It's that easy.
Much like how Minecraft servers back in the day would...
No, I did not go there. Oh, no, I did not make that comparison. Oh, no. Oh, no.
grant users areas to build in based on a fairly straightforward permission system. Not that Minecraft and Cities Skylines have much of the same thing going on with their code, or much in common at all.
I'm so glad I clarified. By the way, guys, Minecraft and Cities Skylines, turns out they're not that similar, just in case there was any confusion.
Actually, let's forget that I even mentioned Minecraft.
Yeah, let's forget that we even mentioned Minecraft. That seems like a great idea.
Look, I'll be real with you. I could sit here and spit hot fire for hours about what would be awesome in a Cities Skylines sequel, and most of it would be, well, incredibly unlikely to even make it to the drawing boards at Colossal Order. But what about what you guys think? What about what you guys want? What about the ideas that you have for this hypothetical sequel? Well, at the end of January, I asked on Twitter what you would all like to see in Cities Skylines 2, and there were some fantastic responses. Daniel Williams 13 said, "I think seasons. It's great having snowfall, but how about like rainstorms, heat waves, normal summers, and winters?"
So that's actually true. That's happening. Daniel nailed it. There are seasons, and during the summer, your Sims are going to be using the air conditioning, which has, you know, a knock-on effect with your power. And during winter, they're using heaters to heat their place. So that's actually correct. That's like spot on. Like, you have winter now with snow, and that's remarkable. Daniel, that was fantastic.
And honestly, I actually totally agree with this. I think having a city that has to deal with what the seasons throw at it would add an extra challenge to the management side of city building, and would lead to some interesting economic changes too. For example, in the winter, you're going to need more road maintenance, and you're going to need hot water, leading to more expenses on those services.
That's pretty much what this was also low-hanging fruit, admittedly. People wanted seasons for a while, but this is pretty spot on.
In the summer, those services could have their budget lowered since they'll barely be used at all, really. I mean, hot water, yes, but a whole lot less than in winter. Likewise, public transport in autumn and winter could be shown to be more popular. Since the weather would be worse, it would be colder, and this would, in theory, lead to less people wanting to walk from point A to point B.
So I don't think that gets simulated in Cities Skylines 2. I don't actually know, and I feel like it probably would have been mentioned somewhere. I do like that idea, though. Public transport is, you know, a little bit more popular when the weather's bad. That's a cool idea.
Massey Spinks 93 threw out the idea of something more noob-friendly. "I love Cities Skylines, but I can't for the life of me figure the game out. Even after your helpful videos, I still struggle. Maybe a tutorial mode at least. Something more in-depth. It's the damn roads, man. They f me over all the time." This is also a brilliant idea. Cities Skylines does already have a help and hint system, but expanding upon that would likely be a great way to help new players get into the meat of the game that little bit faster. I'd actually like to see a similar system to the one in Imperator Rome, one of Paradox's upcoming games that I got to play last year at a press event. Imperator Rome.
This feels like a flex now. This feels like today when I talk about Cities Skylines 2 and how I played it a while ago. This feels like I got invited to a press event to play Imperator Rome, guys. Yeah, look at me.
Actually has a tutorial that gives you a series of objectives that teach you how to get started, how to develop towns, how to build your army, and how to go to war. As you progress, the tutorial naturally opens up to give you a little more room to use things that you've been taught so far to complete the objectives that follow. It's a fantastic system that helped me, a complete dunce when it comes to those kinds of games, get to grips with how it works very, very quickly.
That is also true. The tutorial in Imperator Rome was so useful. I had no idea what I was doing with that game. But I think I'm a bit of an idiot for implying that you can apply that same logic to Cities Skylines, because Imperator Rome has sort of an objective end game where Cities Skylines sort of doesn't.
An objective-based tutorial in Cities Skylines, I think, would be absolutely excellent. So there were actually a whole bunch more tweets in response to my question, and you can read through those by following the direct link to my tweet.
Am I really only going to show 2 of the suggestions? Is that it? Here's 2 things that people suggested. Are we really doing this?
Found down in the description of this video. Similarly, if you have an idea for what you would love to see in a Cities Skylines sequel, then drop a comment on this video and tell me and the whole community all about it. I'd love to see what ideas we can all throw out there and discuss. We all have different goals, ideas, and ways of playing when it comes to city builders, so getting a discussion going would be lovely, and I suppose I'll go first. in response to something that Cities Skylines themselves tweeted while I was writing this video. So they tweeted, "Let's brainstorm. Should construction be a part of Cities Skylines? How would it work? Does construction give you uncontrollable feelings of rage? Or would you be excited to see your roads shut down and angry drivers forced to merge after rows and rows of orange traffic cones?" So as far as I'm concerned, this is a total no-brainer. I would absolutely, without a doubt, love to see construction, and I suppose demolition, come to Cities Skylines.
I still would, honestly. I still think it's a cool idea. I mean, I guess in a way, traffic in Cities Skylines 2 is more prepared for it than traffic in Cities Skylines 1 because they are more reactionary. They will reroute based on things going on ahead of them, like traffic collisions and accidents and things like that. So I still stand by this. I still like the idea of construction.
It would lead to an entirely new way of playing and developing your cities, as you would need to accommodate for the construction work and the potential impact on traffic and the surrounding areas as a direct result. It would be something extra to manage, and I think that's a great thing, especially since Cities Skylines can very quickly become a city painter rather than a city management game. Perhaps having an additional mode somewhere in the game, though, more of a God mode, where things don't need construction and instead just appear right away like they already do. Perhaps that would be a way to keep everyone happy. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for today.
Really? That's it. So 2 tweets and a tweet from Paradox, a tweet from City. Wow. I really didn't have much to say about Cities. I mean, look, I'll tell you why this video existed. I'm going to be completely honest with you because it's 4.5 years old and the sequel is now coming out. This video exists because I'm pretty sure I knew it would be really good clickbait. And honestly, it was really good clickbait. People got really, really angry because people thought I was like leaking Cities Skylines 2, or I knew something about it and I was going to talk about it. And it just turned out to be a speculation video. So yeah, it was for clickbait. It was 100% for clickbait.
I could go on for a long time about this topic, but I would much rather hear your thoughts on the entire thing. So that is going to do us for today. Thank you very much for watching. It's been my pleasure, as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
That's still my outro. Really? I've been doing it's been an absolute pleasure, as always. And as always, I've been doing that for 4.5 years at least. That makes me feel old. Good Lord. That was a waste of a video, man. That was genuinely just for the clickbait. Just a title, Cities Skylines 2. That was rough. I did get some stuff right though, in fairness, and Daniel got the prediction of seasons. And I mean, now that we know what's coming to Cities Skylines 2, it's safe to say that this video is probably incredibly outdated, but it's cool that I get some of it right. I like that I got some of it right. So I'm not going to complain too much about it. There were some solid ideas in there that I absolutely hit the nail on the head with. And there were some things like a full discussion about multiplayer that, man, that has not aged well. And it's just blindingly obvious how much of an idiot I am when it comes to game design. Anyway, that's gonna do us for today. Thank you so much for watching. I do have one little request. If you had any ideas for what you wanted to see in Cities Skylines 2, leave them down in the comments below. I'm talking like ridiculous ideas. I'm talking about things like if you come up with an idea that has happened and you now know is going to be in the game, let me know. But if you had like this outlandish idea years ago and now you sit back and think about it and you're like, man, I was an idiot. I want to know about it. I want to know your most ridiculous wish list items for Cities Skylines 2. Anyway, that is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.